In this video, we're going to learn how to factor using the sum of cubes pattern and the difference of cubes pattern. Alright, first let's do a quick review. What do we mean when we use that word factor? Right, when I ask you to factor something, I'm using factor as a verb. Right? And what that means is I'm asking you to express a number or expression as a product of two or more numbers or expressions. Right? Remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Right? So basically, when I ask you to factor something, I'm asking you to express it as a multiplication problem. Right? So two just kind of review examples. So if I asked you to factor the number 14, right, I'm asking you to rewrite this as a multiplication problem. Right? And obviously we can rewrite 14 as 2 times 7. Right? So 14 is the same thing as 2 times 7, and we would say that 2 times 7 is the factored form of 14. Right? If I ask you to factor x squared minus 25, right, and I'm asking you to rewrite that as a multiplication problem, we could write it like this: x minus 5, the quantity x minus 5, times the quantity x plus 5. Right? And what we're saying is that these two, if you multiply them, you would get back to x squared minus 25. Right? This is the factored form of this. Right? And you can verify that by multiplying those out. Okay? One other thing, don't forget that factor can also be used as a noun. Right? And we would call each of these things a factor. Right? These are the two factors that multiply to get 14. Similarly here, x minus 5 and x plus 5, these are the two factors that multiply to get x squared minus 25. Alright, so now that we've reviewed what factoring is, let's take a look at the sum of cubes pattern and the difference of cubes pattern. Right, the sum of cubes patterns looks like this. Okay? And basically what this is saying is that if you have two cubes, a cubed plus b cubed, that could be factored like this: the quantity a plus b times the quantity a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay? So that's if you have a sum, right? Or in other words, an addition. If you have a difference, or in other words, a subtraction problem of two cubes, a cubed minus b cubed, that could be factored like this: the quantity a minus b times the quantity a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, this looks kind of complicated, and you will have to know these two formulas, right? But it's not that hard. And let me kind of show you where we're going with this. Okay, so what's this going to look like? You're going to be given something like this: x cubed plus 27, right? And you're going to be asked to factor that. In other words, turn that into a multiplication problem. Okay, now I'm not going to do this first one step by step, but just so you can see where this is going, you're going to be turning something like this into a multiplication problem, right? And the answer is this. This could be factored like this: x plus 3 times x squared minus 3x plus 9. Right? So this is the factored version of this. Right? These two are equivalent because these two things would multiply to get back to this. Okay? I didn't show you how to do that. I just wanted you to see where we're going. All right, now I'll show you how to actually do this. Okay? So we're going to factor this polynomial here, x cubed plus 8. Right? And remember, we have those two formulas. Right? And for this one, because I have a plus, an addition problem, we're going to use the sum of cubes pattern. Right? So the first thing that you really need to see is you need to recognize this x cubed plus 8 as the sum of two cubes. Right? In other words, you need to recognize that as some number a cubed plus some number b cubed. Right? In this case, it's pretty easy to see. Right? I want you to see this as the number x cubed plus, well, 8 is the same thing as 2 cubed. Right? So you need to be able to recognize that x cubed plus 8 is the same thing as x cubed plus 2 cubed. Right? So in this case, we're saying that our a is x, and we're saying that our b is 2. And to factor this, all we're going to do is follow our pattern. Right? So we know that a cubed plus b cubed can be factored like this. The quantity a plus b times the quantity a squared minus ab plus b squared. Okay? And all we need to do is just follow this formula. All right, so right here, I need to put a plus b, right? And our a was x and our b was 2. So this would just be x plus 2. And then right here, I need a squared, right? I need to take a, remember a was x, and square that. So that would just be x squared. And then it's going to be minus a times b. So that's x times 2, which is 2x, plus my b squared, right? And b was 2, so 2 squared is 4. And this right here is our answer. And what we're saying is that x cubed plus 8 can be factored like this. In other words, if you were to multiply these two things out, you would get back to here, right? This is the multiplication form that's equivalent to this. Okay, let's do one more example. Let's do a difference of cubes, right? Now, this time I know I'm going to be using a difference of cubes because I have a subtraction right there, right? So you need to, the first thing is that you need to be able to recognize this as something in this format, a cubed minus b cubed. Okay, and now in this case, this is just x cubed minus, well, 64 is the same thing as 4 cubed. So in this case, our a is x and our b is 4. Right, now I want you to notice that in this case, a cubed minus b cubed, our a was x, our b was 4, not negative 4. So this negative is not part of this b. The b is just positive 4. Okay, so here's a cubed minus b cubed. And now we're just going to follow our formula. Right? Our formula was that a cubed minus b cubed could be factored like this. The quantity a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. Right? So now we just need to follow our formula. All right, we know our a is x and our b is 4. So a minus b would just be x minus 4. Now I need a squared. A was x, so this is just going to be x squared. And then it's plus a times b, which is 4x. And now we need b squared. B was 4, so this would just be plus 16. And this right here is our answer. Okay, so we're saying that this is the factored form of this, because these two things, if you multiply them together, would get you back to this. Now you're going to do one on your own, right? X cubed plus 1,000. Okay. All right. I'm going to kind of start you off. All right. Remember, you need to see this as something cubed plus something cubed, and a cubed plus b cubed. Okay. All right. So this is going to be the sum of cubes. All right. Go ahead and pause and do this on your own. All right, welcome back. So you should have recognized that this was x cubed plus 10 cubed. Right? 1,000 is the same thing as 10 cubed. And then you're just going to use your formula, right? A plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. Right? No, I should write this down. Right? So in this case, our a is x and our b is 10. Right? Double check your answer. You should have done this on your own. It should be x plus 10 times x squared minus 10x plus 100. All right, hopefully you got that. And we're going to look at a couple more examples. All right, two last ones. We're going to get a little bit more complicated. Oh, one other thing I should mention. It's going to be useful for you to have your perfect cubes memorized. Okay? And we did this, we talked about this earlier in the semester, right? Right, here's a quick refresher. 1 cubed, 1 times 1 times 1, that's 1. 2 cubed, what's that? That's 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8. 3 cubed, that's 27. 4 cubed, 4 times 4 times 4, that's 64. 5 cubed, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, right? 6 cubed, 6 times 6 times 6, that's 216. 7 cubed, 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. 8 cubed is 512. 9 cubed is 729. And 10 cubed, oops, I wrote a 2 here, I meant 3. All right, 10 cubed is 1,000. Okay, so I did that real fast, but you want to have these also memorized. If you have these memorized, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay, so let's actually get to our problem. All right, so let's do, we're going to do 2 last ones, a little bit more complicated. Okay, so we've got a difference of cubes we'll do together, and then you're going to do the sum of these cubes on your own. Okay, remember the first thing, we got to recognize this as something cubed minus something cubed, and a cubed minus b cubed. All right, and in this case, all right, so 8x cubed. What can I cube to get 8x cubed? Right? It would be 2x. Right? Because 2x times 2x times 2x would be 8x cubed. All right, and then here, what could I cube to get me 729y to the 6th? Right? Well, the answer would be 9y squared. Right? Because 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. Y squared times y squared is y to the 4th, times y squared is y to the 6th. Right? 9y squared cubed is 729y to the 6th. So in this case, our a is 2x, and our b is 9y squared. All right, so now let's go ahead and follow our formula, right? So this can be factored in the format a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. All right, so I need to do a minus b. That's going to be 2x, excuse me, I'm still getting over my cough, minus 9y squared. All right, and then here, I need to take a and square it. Well, 2x squared, or the quantity 2x squared. 2x times 2x, that would be 4x squared. Plus, I need to do a times b. So 2x times 9y squared. That would be 18xy squared. And then lastly, I need to take b and square it. So 9y squared. Well, 9y squared times 9y squared would be 81, so plus 81 y to the 4th. Okay, and that right there is our answer. All right, you're going to do the last one. Okay, and remember, the first thing you got to do is you got to see this as something cubed plus something cubed. Right, and then follow your formula. All right, go ahead and pause and do this one on your own. All right, ready to check your answer? Here we go. All right, so first of all, you got to see this as 5x cubed plus 6y to the 5th cubed. Right, so in this case, our a value is 5x, and our b value is 6y to the 5th. And now we're just going to follow our formula. So it's going to be a plus b times a squared minus a times b plus b squared. Okay, go ahead and double check your answer. You should have the following: 5x plus 6y to the 5th times 25x squared minus 30xy to the 5th plus 36y to the 10th. Oops, sorry, I should erase this. Make that better. Plus 36y to the 10th. And that right there's your answer.